Howdy, folks. I'm a very aggressive chicken.
I'm Amber.
And here's some more aggressive chickens. Watch out. They're coming for you. Alright, folks. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Emailing the Parents of My Child's Classmate Without the Administrator's Approval? I recently discovered that my third grader was being verbally and emotionally abused and manipulated by her teacher. My child has mentioned a few things throughout the years, but nothing too alarming. I've noticed an uptick in her anxiety levels over the last few months, but I attributed it to her father's absence due to his job and the transition from second to third grade. I've gradually watched my baby go from the model student who was excited to go to school and loved learning to the shell of her former self. She is now someone who wakes up in the morning with stomach pains daily, cries and pleads not to have to go, and says that she hates school. She also explodes daily when she comes home and started having panic attacks at drop-off. I started her in therapy, and after her first session, her therapist said that she was dealing with severe anxiety and seemed to be dealing with a toxic or abusive environment at school. I was shocked. Of course, she told me a few comments here and there, but never really went into detail even when I asked. I tried to let her come to me on her own, which she did, but I discovered that she was downplaying the incidents to protect her teacher and avoid retaliation. Last Friday, my 5th grader came home and told me a classmate of my 3rd grader told her teacher that she had been gossiping about my daughter's personal business with the entire class the week that she was out with the stomach flu, as well as questioning the validity of her illness. She also pulled my 5th grader aside to ask her sister, was she actually sick this time? Upon hearing this information, I decided to ask my 3rd grader more detailed questions, and she finally divulged all that she's been dealing with through this school year. My heart broke for her. On Monday, I kept her home and sent the principal a strongly worded email demanding an investigation and that they take action, or I was withdrawing all 3 of my kids from their school, as I now do not feel they are safe. The next day, my daughter's class was switched and the teacher was reprimanded verbally and was told that she would no longer be allowed to speak to my 8-year-old. Several students corroborated my child's accusations. My daughter was happy with the outcome and she is no longer having to see or speak to this teacher. I let her know how proud I was of her for being brave. The principal suggested that we put a spin on the situation and say that the reason was due to reshuffling of students. I disagreed and thought that the other classmates' parents should know, so I sent out a mass email letting them know why my daughter was removed from class. One of the other parents reached out to the school to confirm, and I got a call from the principal basically berating me. I told her, as a parent, I have every right to warn other parents about the teacher's behavior that is directly affecting their child as well. I am now considering taking this to the superintendent. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. I mean, definitely take this to the superintendent. That woman should not be teaching. She should not be anywhere where there are small children. Verbally and emotionally abusing a child should be immediate grounds for termination of your teaching. Like, that's it.
This is the easiest Am I the Jerk story I've ever read, in the respect that, no, you are not. The principal wanted to put a spin on this. The principal wanted to kind of cover this up and be like, look, everything's fine. We moved your child, when the real problem wasn't that the child needed to be removed, which, I mean, certainly, yes, the child did.
Well, the teacher was the one who needed to be removed. And that's the thing, is moving the child out of a class where she knows people and may have friends. No, the teacher is the one who needs to get moved.
Yeah.
And too often in situations, it's the victim who has to do all the reshuffling of their life while the abuser just goes on like nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's really hard to find teachers, and it's a really hard job, and teaching is a challenging position, but this is not an effective teacher. She is actually causing more harm than good, and you can argue all you want and being like, well, she's only traumatized one child, but that's one child too many, and she's probably traumatized many other children.
Right. Well, and this is going to have long-term psychological damage. I mean, OP notes that she went from a very happy, eager child to one who dreads school and is very anxious. And like, once you build up that anxiety, it can be really hard, even removing the stimulus, which is the teacher, it may take a long time. The anxiety may never, she may never go back to the person she once was. And like, she's also set up the other kids to bully the daughter by basically gossiping. Like, who gossips about a third grader with their class?
Yeah, this is just completely inappropriate. This teacher just really did need to be fired. Just do not pass go, do not collect $200. And I think OP did a great service to all the other parents out there by warning them that one of the teachers is actually literally a bully.
Like, a verbal reprimand is not sufficient for this, and if she doesn't get, like, removed, she's going to do these kind of things again.
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Scout 1982 says, I'm not a teacher or a school administrator, but I work closely with both. You should absolutely go to the superintendent and the school board. This is a PR nightmare waiting to happen, and both the teacher and principal should be reprimanded. And OP replies, the principal said that she felt that we had an understanding because I didn't object during the meeting. And I didn't because once I got home, I realized that they tried to manipulate me and my daughter with a nice story to tell everyone of why she was taken out of the classroom and spin it as for being her privacy if the other kids asked. And I mean, I certainly think that OP in the moment may have just kind of not known, was still probably in a daze and didn't necessarily know the right way to handle this. And so I can't necessarily blame them for not immediately saying no to the principal.
Well, this is a person, an authority figure. Like, even as an adult, there's still like this level of this person is like the one who commands the school, and it's hard to get out of that mindset. And so here you have someone who's at least to some degree an authority figure being like, this is the story. Like, I don't fault OP at all for not immediately being like, no, we're not doing it this way.
Yeah, it can be a hard situation to be put in. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Having a Fake Wedding? I'm heading for a milestone birthday. Think one that people freak out about, although I'm fine with it. I've never had a wedding, never even gotten close, and I realistically never will. I've discovered that I don't live peacefully with other people, and I'm okay with that. Marriage is not a state that I would be happy in. I've got close family and friends around me, and that will do me quite nicely. But I would like to have a wedding, a formal occasion to dress up in fancy clothing and have a professional formal photos taken and spend a nice day celebrating my life with my family and friends. I'm not stupid enough to get married just so I can have a wedding, but for my birthday, I was planning a wedding-like party, a formal dress code, not a literal wedding dress, but an evening gown type dress. And I would hire a venue and a photographer, maybe have a night before in the hotel with some close friends. I'm even planning a solo honeymoon, taking a big trip for a couple of weeks to a dream location. Some people I've mentioned to this seem excited, but others have said that it's self-indulgent and a bit weird. One of my cousins, who will probably be getting married at around the same time, not the same date, has accused me of trying to steal her thunder. Am I the jerk for having a fake wedding for my birthday? Edit, I'm not personally referring to it as a wedding, but other people have said, so it's like a wedding, but just for you. Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. That sounds lovely. And honestly, we need more reasons to wear ball gowns and evening gowns and fancy dress, so more power to you, OP.
Yeah, I think that this is nice. I think that OP is at peace with themselves and has a good understanding about what their limitations are. They want to have a nice, big, formal, fancy party, and there's nothing wrong with having a nice, big, formal, fancy party for your birthday. And the fact that your cousin is saying that this is going to take away from their wedding, I mean, come on, that's not really the situation here. You can't take away from someone's big day by having another party, right?
Yeah, well, and it's not like people are going to get confused. Oh, I thought this was cousin's wedding, you know? Like, there's not going to be any confusion there. You're not stealing her thunder. People are allowed to have their own celebrations.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it doesn't sound like you're going to walk yourself down the aisle and,
Although that could be fun.
I mean, it just sounds like you're going to have a big party with maybe some events, and that's going to be really what it boils down to.
Yeah, well, and actually, in some ways, I think this is better because some people do want the wedding more than the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And if we moved away from weddings being like the end-all, be-all celebration, like if you could just celebrate being you, then that could be a good option for the people who want the big party but don't have the right partner. So instead of grabbing Jack off the street, and getting married so they can have the pictures, actually just have a fun time in a fancy dress.
Yeah, I really honestly think that this is not harmful at all. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And the jerk clown throwaway says, info, why not just call it a birthday party? Dressing up, renting a venue, having a professional pictures, and celebrating life with family and friends, all done at a birthday party. So why does it need to be called a wedding? And OP replies, I'm not calling it a wedding. I'm calling it Rosie's big birthday celebration, but people have likened it to a fake wedding party. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, The Guy I Ghosted is Sending Mixed Messages. And this is a user submitted one, and they wanted some feedback and input from other people. I'm a 19-year-old female, and I ghosted my ex about a year ago, a 19-year-old male. I know that I shouldn't have ghosted him, and it's awful of me, and I have apologized to him. Now we're back to being friends, and I don't know what to think of this entire situation. We're colleagues and we work together. Basically, last year we got super close and started dating. We were together for a bit and super close before my best friend passed away. Due to this, I withdrew from the world and I ghosted him because I couldn't handle talking to anyone. I slowly started talking to everyone again, but I never picked up the relationship again. We had to keep seeing each other at work, but I just ignored him because I felt too bad to talk to him again. This year, we had a work trip to Bond at a restaurant and we were hanging out all night. After I got home, he texted me, asked me if I was into another person. One thing led to another, and we started discussing our old relationship after a year, and he asked why I ghosted. I told him my reasons and I apologized, and he thanked me for the clarification and told me that he's in a relationship now. I'm super happy that he's moved on, but the next thing that happened confused me and I don't know how to proceed with my friendship with him. I told him that I'm glad that we're friends now and that we worked well as friends as compared to dating, and he told me that we would have worked really well as a couple. And a couple of days later, he sent me a playlist called Ghosting with a caption saying, "You're my favorite place to go home to." We've been talking every night, and I don't know what to think. If he still likes me, or is hung up, or if he finally found closure from our conversation, and I'm the one who ended up not getting closure. Alright folks, what do you think about this one? What advice do we have for the OP here?
I mean, I think proceed with caution with this. Clearly, either he's into OP, and there are so many different possibilities here. He might not even have a girlfriend. I might have said that just to try to jab at OP, and now is trying to get to her. Or he might actually have a girlfriend but wants OP on the side. Or he might just want OP to be hung up on him. I don't know what his motive is, but a lot of them don't seem very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room here, and unfortunately there's not a lot of clarity. And I think OP, this is a hard situation to judge in the respect that is a lot of stuff going on here, but it does definitely sound like he's interested in you. You're my favorite place to go home to. That's, I think, a pretty explicit message there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that right there is pretty well the message that you're looking for. And you have to ask yourself, is this emotionally an emotional infidelity on his part?
Mm-hmm.
All right, are you two getting close? And would this be considered emotional infidelity on his part? Because you do not want to be the other woman.
Yeah, so that would be the thing is if he actually does have a girlfriend, I would definitely recommend taking a step way, way back, making it abundantly clear that you do not want anything relationshipy, that this is just a friendship, and hoping he'll stick to that. He probably won't. You might have to just let him go. If he's just lying about the whole girlfriend thing, then you can decide from there. But if he actually is in a relationship, I definitely would recommend taking a big step back.
Yeah, or, I mean, this, again, he may be trying to feel out the situation and trying to figure out if you have feelings for him, because maybe he's in an unhappy relationship. Maybe things aren't really working out, and and sometimes people want and this is kind of a gross way that some people approach relationships. They kind of want a security net so that they can go from one relationship to another relationship. And I certainly hope that he's not playing games with you and that this is just kind of an emotional manipulation. But I think, unfortunately, until he dumps his current girlfriend, I think that you should really make it explicitly clear that you're only interested in him as a friend as long as he is in a relationship with someone else. And I think that if you approach it like that and make sure that he knows your points of view on that, then you're not really going to go wrong there. Anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, what's the moral for the story today?
No, not yet.
Oh, is that not yet? I guess I kind of forgot.
Brian asked me yesterday for a Jovial Bob sign joke, and ask and ye shall receive. Why are skeletons cowards?
Why are skeletons cowards? Well, I have to think about this one, and I have to think, like, what would Jovial Bobstein say, right? And if I were Jovial Bobstein, I would come up with the corniest possible punchline ever. And in that respect, I would say that skeletons are cowardly because they have no guts.
Yeah, they don't have the guts.
And because that would be the corniest line that we could think of here. Know your enemy. Know your nemesis. Jovial Bobstein and I are nemeses.
Jovial Bobstein is not my nemesis. Just so you know, R.L. Stein, I love your books.
I'm just kidding, of course. You see, the thing is, like, you have to have a nemesis, right?
No.
And so I've picked my nemesis to be Jovial Bobstein, and he is aware of this as well. And so we're just not. Like, we're bantering. This is he and I bantering.
Wait, if you really know R.L. Stein, like, can you?
I don't know R.L. Stein. I just know Jovial Bobstein.
Well, that's his pen name.
And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Wednesday. Wow, we're halfway through the week. Happy hump day. And Amber, we need some kind of moral guidance here today. And can you please make it a very short fairy tale?
Once there was a teacher who was very mean and bullied her students. And the students' mom told the school administrators, and they fired the teacher. And since this is a fairy tale, they also turned her into a newt. And yeah, don't bully your students because you might get turned into a newt.
Yeah, I mean, that works. That's a fairy tale, all right. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
It must be my idea, Amber. Only my ideas. My ideas only, ever. Never mind that I'm recording this, but I rule the roost in this chicken coop, Amber.
Do you now?
Yeah, that's why I make all the squawking sounds.
Have fun with your chicken coop.
I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go roost on my nest because I rule this roost. Bok, bok, bakok.
Alright, well, have fun with that.
Yes, chickens are very aggressive. They're very aggressive, and that's why I'm so aggressive too.
Well, we know what you are today.